Creating product images usually involves photoshoots, lighting setup, and endless stock image searches, but Adobe Firefly completely changes that. In this video, I'll show you how to generate mockup-ready product images using Adobe Firefly, to which later we're going to take and refine in Adobe Photoshop. If you want to follow the full workflow where we go in so much more detail, feel free to check out our full course, which is in the description down below. So let's go ahead and see how we could make those images. So first, let's go to Adobe Firefly, and we're just going to head down to the text to image feature, what we've been doing in the past course. But over here, instead of talking about a subject, we're going to be talking about either a setup, an environment, or a object that is clean for us to put something on there. So that could be a white mug, a white t-shirt, or maybe a different color, but there is no longer focus on the features of the human or the landscape, but more so on that thing that is going to be your mockup. So for me, I'm going to be doing something very simple. Let's first make this a white screen, and I'll turn this into photo because that's what mockups are. And if you're not familiar with what a mockup is, it's essentially a way for you to display either a pattern, a logo, an image onto various surfaces to show your client or the audience how it's going to look like. So let's say you're an artist and you draw pictures of dogs. You want your audience to visualize how that picture is going to look like on a t-shirt, on a mug, on a keychain, so that they can make better considerations when they're buying your product instead of just looking at the flat image. So let's go for minimalist desk setup, just emphasizing that I don't want too much detail on things that are not related to the mockup. Talk about the lighting, and then I'll say with a mug on it. Let's generate. If you found it hard to come up with your prompt, remember that we have the prompt suggestions, and you can just go over that. So here are my options. You can see how it even added some blurring in the background, and the focus here is the mug. Now, just like that, I could switch out the color. Not much changed in the prompt. And then all I would have to do is bring it into my other software to add my logo or design on it. We can also do the same thing with a garment. So maybe a folded t-shirt on a clean wooden background. And again, I could give it a color. Let's go for blue. Here is the t-shirt. So it kind of struggled with the folded aspect, but we could just remove that. You can see it try to do a folded shirt, but at the same time, spread out one. If I remove folded, now we have a regular shirt. If you want, you could have someone wearing that shirt. So crop body of a person, of a man wearing a blue t-shirt in front of a clean wooden background. You could also just do it the full man. So this is crop body, that's what it means. No head, no legs, just, the main focus of this mock-up. So this way people can focus on that design and not so much on how that person looks like. And if I remove that, I get an actual person for the most part. Now, just like any other image generation, you can work with the composition reference or the styles. So I'm going to go with this dramatic lighting one. And for effects, we can add some colors and tones. So let's try to do like a cool tone just to show you what it will look like. And I'll do another dramatic light down here. And essentially, you're manipulating the way the camera is catching this base image so that you would have the perfect mockup. So you can see that going from this to this, it's a lot more dramatic. There's harsh lighting, and we have a lot more details. I could switch out the camera angle. Let's do shallow depth of field. And now you can see there's like space between the subject and the background. We're getting that nice cinematic blur. Same thing here, here, and here. And that's pretty much how you get to create that base image. It's a very simple formula. You just say what it is that you want to put your design on, add some references or one of these effects. You could also go for a composition reference so that it follows a strict guideline. And try generating a few variations every time because Firefly's strength is in its iterations. So you save the one that best captures your product's vibe and then have it generate more like that. So this way I'm able to start on the right track and continue on with some editing and refining using Generative Fill. Now that we have our base image, let's clean it up and make it production ready. So previously we made a bunch of these edits, and as you know, with any sort of AI generated image, you may get some mistakes in there. So scrolling up, I have this photo where the guy has 2 watches instead of 1. And instead of just downloading this into editing it in Photoshop, I could use Firefly's built-in tools to just make that adjustment and then bring it into Photoshop. So let's go to the Remove tab and adjust our brush, and I will remove his left hand watch in just one simple click. So I will keep this one, and I'm thinking of switching this other watch. So let's zoom in. I'm not sure what that is. It doesn't even look like a watch. So use the insert tool. Give it a good enough room for a new watch. Let go and type something in. So now we're getting something that looks a lot better. I will generate another set just so I could get different looks for this watch. So I will stick with this one. And now my model, my image is ready to go into Photoshop. If you have any sort of distraction, feel free to remove that as well. But what I'm going to do is select the background with Insert so that I could replace it. I think it's better to have a solid color just so that the focus could be on the design that we're going to put on later. So let's do white background. So there is my base image, and I'm just going to hit download. Now onto the other image that we made where it was one of these shirts. I think I will grab one of the white ones just for some variation. Let's do the same thing, but I could use the brushes to add an element. So let's increase the size here, something like in the edge. I'll give it a big room. And then in the prompt box, we can add a, let's say, folded towel on the side. So there's the folded towel, or maybe something like this. I'm going to keep this and then use the remove to get rid of the, I think that's a candle, and a piece, or just one rock. We don't really need that. All right, let's accept one of the changes and then go in with the insert again. And I'll add maybe some dumbbells here. Maybe this is like a fitness mock-up. And lastly, I'm going to use the expand with the same ratio, so 16:9. And I'm just going to increase the size a bit so I could zoom out. Just make sure that whatever canvas you have is in the middle or in the right area. And there we go. So now it's zoomed out more. And that gives us room to add in some text maybe, or like a disclaimer, anything else necessary for our mockup. So when you're happy with this, download your refined image and then get ready to bring it into Photoshop. So let's do a very simple prompt. I'm in the text to image once again, and I will do something like studio shot of skincare bottle. The surface being like beige, smooth, lighting wise, let's say it's diffused. I'm going for that clean studio look, so we could put like a logo or something on there. Some minimalist aesthetics and hyper realistic photo. Once again, I'm going to go for the widescreen 16:9 photo, and then I don't have any styles or anything, so that's what we're going to start with. Of course, we can continue building up using these references. So while that's happening, well, that was quick. So we're getting some stuff, not that ideal. This one looks fine, it's not too bad. And this one's perfect actually. All right, so we have this shape. I'm gonna stick with this one. And let's say that I wanted to add something on there. So we're just gonna see how that's gonna play out and then why we should go to Photoshop. So here with inserts, I'm just gonna go over this bottle and say pattern. So as you can see, it's not exactly catching on. I could say like flower pattern or something. But it's having a hard time trying to generate an image first and then blend it into the base, which is that glass skincare bottle. So we have some stuff, but I'm pretty sure you can see there's like a halo effect. And this one looks a little weird. It looks like the flower is not part of the pattern. It's like 3D. And this one, again, we have that halo effect. So I could keep going back and forth with this using my insert brush remove tool. But there's an easy way, and that's using Photoshop. So I'm gonna hit cancel and go back. And simply, you can either hit Photoshop here, just to show you what this looks like, if you don't have the program, or open it up in the program. For this one, I'll just do it in the web in case you guys don't have Photoshop installed. So what we're going to do first is open up the image. We have layer 0. I'm going to double click on it and call it my base. It's always a good idea to name your layers because as the project gets more complicated, you're going to lose track of what's what. So first of all, you can refine the size of this. So you could use the crop tool to make it a little smaller or zoom in, but I'm going to just kind of push my bottles to the right so I could have some space for the good text. And then maybe extend this a little further. Generative expand. I'm not going to say anything and just have Firefly figure it out. We have 3 options. It works just like Firefly, so if you don't like any of these options, hit the plus, add another prompt. You can get more variations, you can generate similar to what you've selected here, give feedback, delete it, pretty much the same thing. So I'm just going to choose this one, and you can see now we have a new layer called Generative Expand. If I hide it, we're going to go back to the original image. And the mask is basically the part where the new section is visible. So if I go on the mask and I get a black brush, so foreground is black, paintbrush, and I go over it, you can see how I'm taking away from what's visible on this mask. Command or Control Z, and let's keep this as it is. So I use the crop tool and I use the generative expand. This one, as you can see, is a little bit different because now in Photoshop, I get to see the layer. So if I change my mind, I could always delete it and I don't have to start from scratch. Whereas here, if I were to do it, I could do what I did in Photoshop, but I'm not giving any layers. So that's going to be a little bit harder as I make the project more complicated. So I just get to hit keep, and this is what I have to deal with now. Going back to this, we're now going to clean up the edges if needed. So you're just going to zoom in and see if there's any sort of hallucinations. Usually there shouldn't be, but sometimes you get like a weird line and it's not a straight line, that sort of thing. But I think we're good. Everything looks pretty decent. If it didn't for you guys, you're getting like weird shapes, you can use the retouch tool. Choose the bottom layer, retouch, and like go over that area, and it's gonna just like fix it for you, remove those blemishes. But for me, it was clean already, so nothing happened. Okay, so now we can kind of edit this image. What I'm gonna do is grab both of these. So select the first one, Control or Command, select the second one, right click, and we're going to group layer. So now I'm dealing with one layer, but of course, when I open the triangle, there's sub layers too. So I'll call this base image again. And now I get to treat this like a regular photo. If I want to change like the brightness and contrast, I get to do that here. So that's another benefit of moving this to Photoshop because we don't have any sort of image adjustment tools. So for example, I could go to adjustment layers, brightness contrast. It will make me another layer. Maybe I want it brighter, darker, add more contrast, that sort of thing. And that's going to be something separate, so I could delete it, lower its intensity with opacity, and just build up on my base image. Another thing that we could do is add color balance. This is going to help if like your image is a little bit too green, too red, or any of these. You balance it out by introducing the opposite color. So this right now is a little bit too yellow, so I could add a little blue to make it different. If it's too red, I could add some cyan, and then if it's too purpley, I could add some green. So before, after, you can see how with one adjustment you're able to completely shift the image. And again, if it's too much, you can always reduce the opacity so the effect is not as visible. I'm going to add some vibrance just to bring out the colors in the background. And now I have 3 adjustments on top of my base layer. If you want, feel free to add any other filters. There's so many things you could do with these. Play around with them. If you want, you could blend it in a certain way. But we're going to take this to another level by adding some designs onto these 2 packaging. And that's going to be the mock-up. Mock-ups are essentially a way for you to present your brand without your product virtually. So if you want to put in your original pattern, you can display it on this box, and it gives a great idea to the audience as to how that box is going to look to them. And that's how you can generate images in Adobe Firefly, refine them, and then bring them into Photoshop to make them mockup ready. What you see here is the basic workflow. In the full course, we're going to go over how to apply certain textures, work with shadows, and make sure our product is as realistic as possible. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in our future tutorials.